Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We're going to talk about Synthwave and some of the other wave genres. Hope you guys are excited. First off, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Carolyn. I am a Synthwave enthusiast. I'm not a musician, but I love the genre. I'm a fashion designer, and I love the 80s and 80s music and culture, even though I was not alive for them. Just missed it by a couple years.
I am Rob of the band Megatronix, just Robbie. I was alive, part of it, just to love it. So I do remember the tail end of the 80s, and I, again, a synthwave musician, and I'm also a film score composer and a video game enthusiast, so I gotta tack on at least part of each one.
Yeah, and you legit collect like retro video game stuff, which is
Uh,
super cool.
Yes, and I support my friends at Retro Video Game that thing. So it's Street Clear. You can find his game on Nintendo Switch. And Scroller, it's kind of like Ninja Game, and Gaiden. I don't want to get killed, and it's in the vein of the old NES 8-bit stuff and all the soundtrack. And he's a synthwave artist. Look at that guy a lot. You should check it out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk a bit about like synthwave in video games. Right, Robbie, it looks like your audio's still messing up a bit.
Check 1, 2.
All right, well, I'll keep going and maybe we can figure something out. So what the heck is Synthwave? Oh, maybe you should try re-entering the stream. Let's do that before we like actually get too much into the discussion.
All right, so just dump out and come back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that. How's that?
Oh, I think that might have fixed it.
Yay.
Oh, no.
Dang it.
All right, we might just have to deal with this.
The professional audio guy is the one having the audio issue, right?
Yeah. Okay, it's only doing it a little bit. Okay, so what is synthwave? How like Robbie, how would you describe it as a synthwave musician?
Well, synthwave to me and to the genre and other artists is it is a homage to actual music from these in a sense of not necessarily the mainstream like synth music, mostly in soundtracks of 80s film. Good examples are Blade Runner, uh, stuff like that. It's real to love and reflection of the 80s. It can be an aesthetic. It can be all the purple and pink neon. It can be palm trees. A lot of the common aesthetic is the palm trees with the sunset. It could be either one. To me personally, synthwave is a genre of music, and it's also an aesthetic.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, hold on.
It,
Do you have any effects on your microphone since you said you're using your professional one?
I do not.
Okay. Or is it possible for you to switch back to your phone mic?
It is not.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, what you were saying is that like synthwave draws so much from like 80s inspiration, and I think it's important to clarify that like synthwave is a contemporary genre of music. It's not a genre that's from the 80s. It just sounds like it is. Um So it's not like actual 80s music. It just sort of like pulls all of the best parts of 80s music and makes it into something new. And I think also like what's so interesting about synthwave is that it does have a really, really distinct aesthetic to it. Unlike other genres of music, like you can look at a synthwave album cover and just know that's what it is because they all have a lot of things in common. So I just think that's something that's really interesting about it. This is the aesthetic that we're talking about, like neon lights, hot pink, purple, blue, sunset colors, retro video games, just like anything that's like roughly from like the 80s or maybe early 90s. You've probably seen the picture in the middle of that sunset. That's the cover of the album Atlas by the band FM84. And that is like so iconic. Like that's what synthwave is. That, and like you can see there's a similar one, the Gunship album cover in the lower right corner. It's like the wireframes, and yeah, just like the I don't know where that sun came from.
I believe, because I'm not 100% sure, but what I believe it came from, supposed to be the lines to it are the ripples, like when you see the set on like the water.
Oh yeah.
So those are just ripples.
Mm-hmm.
So the aesthetic is supposed to be like the sunset on a beach.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And rather than like, it waves, it's the lines.
Yeah, I wasn't sure in terms of like graphic design if there was like someone specific who like made that image and now it's just like become ubiquitous.
I'm not exactly sure who came up with it first. I've seen examples of it actually used in the 80s, like 80s advertisements.
Okay, yeah, so it is like actually from the time. I wasn't sure about that, or if it was like something that was like a synthwave artist made it.
There are things that you can look at in 80s advertising as far as like logo and things like that. Something that pops in my brain, especially when I see that sun, is more not the sunset beach, but that reminds me a lot of VHS tape boxes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, like
geometric shapes, and that's another thing that you see, like angles and just basically this picture is a very good example of like the synthwave aesthetic in a whole. There's when we get into offshoots of synthwave, the aesthetic changes a bit, but I'm sure we'll get to that when we get to that portion.
Yeah, we can actually get into that now, because like the next slide we're going to talk about like examples of synthwave artists, and the genre, like as niche as it is, still like has quite a bit of variation. You have stuff that leans like really, really heavy and dark, and then you have other stuff that like just sounds like 80s pop music.
Well, synthwave is a term for like a broad of a lot of branches. I'll take that. Thank you. So yeah, accidental aesthetic. There you go. So yeah, synthwave. With synthwave itself, the basis of synthwave music is analog synthesizers. It doesn't have to necessarily be an analog synthesizer, which most purists would delight in that over like a VST or a plugin or something like that. But the important part about it is synthesizers and analog synthesizers. It's the very warm, whooshy kind of sound, and then you have your arpeggiators. Something finds it really is, and again, as Karen said, this is all these, but kind of through almost like a modern machine, like a fine-tuned to modern kind of era tone. Folks in the genre and other artists go as far as using actual drum machines from the 80s, like the Linn drum is the most common one. The Linn drum from the 80s, it sees itself. You would recognize the most on Prince's Purple Rain. all the on that were done with that drum machine. And folks,
do you have any like examples that you could play?
If I did it probably just like my voice.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really feel out the lining it to make the audio play video. So Synthwave, you have a couple offshoots of just the general synth. You have synth pop, which, as Carolyn said, it just sounds like 80s pop, fed through like modern instruments. Again, that remain analog and true to the tone of the 80s. Outrun is synthwave that is basically it's defined more by the tempo. Outrun is faster synthwave.
Yeah, and I have seen people just use the term synthwave and outrun like interchangeably.
Right.
Sometimes you'll see that term used.
It is. They can both mean this thing. As far as like the offshoot of the genre, out more particularly defined by like faster tempos that you would drive to. The name Outrun comes from the video. It's like a video game Outrun.
Yeah, it's like you've probably like seen. There's always like tons of like synthwave and like electronic music like mixes on YouTube and stuff. And I've seen lots that are just like it's the 80s and you're driving at night and like that's what it is. That's what it sounds like.
Outrun leans more in that direction to give you that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So then, as Carolyn mentioned, there's heavier version of synthwave. That is referred to as dark synth. Not confused with dark wave, because that's what pretty much everybody calls it when you first get into this, because it means everything is wave. Dark wave actually its own totally completely different goth genre from the 80s, and that stays in the 80s. So get in the conversation and you drop dark wave, folks are gonna they're look at you funny, you're gonna think that's what you're talking about. Dark synth is the proper term for darker stuff.
Here, I'll just repeat that in case like people miss that. But yeah, there's dark wave and there's dark synth. Yeah, they're different things. Like dark wave is related to like goth music, and then dark synth is just like, in some ways, almost like a gothic version of synthwave. It's heavier. Sometimes it's blended with like heavy metal.
Good examples of those. So that one I believe is the one that sounds the most like not trying to mirror the original 80s too much, but it's got its own little pocket where it sounds a bit more original, if that makes sense. It's like Perturbator,
or Dance with the Dead.
Dance with the Dead is kind of the leader as far as the heavy metal guitar stuff goes. As a street cleaner, if I were to put like the big four, because that's more of the genre I lean towards with Megatronix, Turbitor, Carpenter Brute, street cleaner, and why can't the fourth one right now?
Well, it's okay. Synthwave is the music from Stranger Things. Yes, we are gonna get to that.
Yeah.
If you watch Stranger Things and you're like, wow, this is a jam, then that's Synthwave.
Oh, Perturbator, Dance with the Dead, Carpenter Brute, Street Cleaner. That's the four. My bad.
So here's just like tip of the iceberg when it comes to like synthwave artists. There's obviously way more than this. These are just artists that Robbie and I happen to like, and ones that are like pretty well known within the genre. Kavinsky is sort of credited as being like the first synthwave artist.
Correct.
Dance with the Dead, which we talked about, they're definitely like on the darker, edgier side. Time Cop 1983, which is more of the like chill kind of vibe, and it's mostly instrumental, sometimes vocals. Synthwave varies. There are some artists that only do instrumental, some have vocals. It varies quite a bit. Some people have a preference. The Midnight is like definitely one of the biggest synthwave acts out there. They're much more like pop oriented. There's Nina, who's also very pop oriented. Magic Sword, which is all instrumental.
The
FM84.
Magic Sword digs a little bit into heavy metal, just a little bit of
Yeah.
the soaring electric guitar solos.
Yeah, Magic Sword is really cool. FM84, which is pretty like traditional synthwave, I would say.
So the thing with FM84, so FM84 is one guy. The album Carolyn pointed out, Atlas. The thing that made that really big is the vocalist on there. His name is All Ride.
Yeah, Ollie Ride. Yeah,
he's his own synth pop like solo guy, but he lended his that album, and Running in the Night is like the big jam off of the album. And
if you're watching this and you've never listened to Synthwave, look up the song Running in the Night by FM84, and that will just like tell you everything you need to know.
And more importantly, Ollie is actually an official member of FM84 now, so there's now two of them.
Oh wow, I actually didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bunny X, who you're actually friends with.
Yes. Now Bunny X, this is where it gets neat. There's another offshoot of Synthwave.
Yeah.
Which it takes its name from the actual traditional. It's called Italio Disco.
They have a very like Euro dance vibe to them, which I appreciate.
One of the earliest credited versions or examples of Italio Disco, the 80s, would be Baltimore's Tarzan Boy. But what defines Italio Disco is it has that kind of bass to it, that up down octaves, and that's what Bunny X does. And dual female fronted duo, great.
And then of course I had to put Megatronix on the list because you guys are synthwave, but with a lot of heavy metal mixed in, which is super cool because there's actually like a weirdly large overlap between metal fans and synthwave fans, and I'm not 100% sure why, but it is it's a thing.
Mm-hmm. I think, me personally, I think, and we've been trying to figure this out in the scene. Mm-hmm. I personally believe it's the low tones and it's like the literal vibe, the vibration of the whole thing, and the repetitive nature of beat. Like, it's a dance beat. There's like just vibe.
Yeah,
the vibe part of it's to explain. And as a heavy metal person from Go, I came into it, but and felt exact that, like just there's like a hum to it that touches the same like eardrum that heavy metal does.
Yeah, it activates the same part of your brain or something. Because I'm the same way. Like, I'm a huge heavy metal fan. I've been listening to it since I was like 14, and then I discovered synthwave a few years ago, and I was like, I don't know why I like this, but I'm really into it.
Right.
I mean, I like 80s pop music, so that's probably part of it. But it's like a overlap. And should also mention, like, as an example, Dance with the Dead does like remixes of metal songs.
Mm-hmm. They have a remix of Master of Puppets. They just did they did a remix of I Got Five on the old pop jam, and I believe they had a singer from Atreyu on it to do the vocals. So
I think they also did I'm pretty sure they also did a cover of "Kickstart My Heart" by
yes.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculously good. And we got Street Cleaner, who's another friend, which he played at. Was he at the show that you guys did 2 years ago?
Yes, we opened for him.
Yes, yeah.
Street
very
Cleaner,
intense.
yes, Street Cleaner. The band, like, as far as like the ability to jump between subgenres, still sound like Street Cleaner. Like, you hear Street Cleaner, you know it's him. Like, it pretty much this entire list that Karen has put together, you hear any of these, you know it's them.
Yeah, and also, like you said, towards the beginning, Street Cleaner has a video game that is available on a bunch of different platforms.
It's available on Nintendo, it's on Switch, and it's on Steam.
Okay, yeah. So that's really cool. It's like a literally a synthwave video game. And
right.
then
speaking of like aesthetic, the man went as far as reproducing like old 80s PC gaming box. Like that box it came with the game, like the poster of strategy guy. Like who does that? Street Clean does it, but he's a video game nerd, just like I am, and probably most are. And he put that much love in like that. That's the backbone of really what Synthwave is love for that kind of stuff. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead. I didn't
and
cut you.
yeah, and actually to go along with that, like I mean, for example, like Megatronix, like you guys released what a single or an EP on a cassette, and like there are artists that do that.
I can't reach it. It's right over there.
Yeah, like they'll just forgo the CDs and like, you know, they'll have digital downloads, but then they'll get a cassette made just for like the novelty of it.
Right. I mean, there's like that's another great thing about Synthwave. Like certain artists, they'll put their stuff cassette. Like if you're into kind of thing, they're like E's, like she was saying, pretty much toast. It's vinyl, obviously digital stream and digital downloads. Then you get folks that do stuff like that cassette that was made the year. You know, cool stat.
Yeah, and then last on the list is I wonder what Carolyn is drinking. It's a secret, but I have a very aesthetically appropriate glass.
I have aesthetic energy. It is pink.
Anyway, so yeah, last on the list is Power Glove, not to be confused with a video game themed metal band also called Power Glove. Two different artists.
The Synthwave Power Glove has a space.
Yeah.
The other one does not. And ironically, to the horn, if you combine both Power Gloves, you get Megatronix.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. Okay, so here's some examples of synthwave in pop culture. Obviously, Stranger Things. Like I don't know the name of the person who did their soundtrack, but yeah, like
it is totally slipping my mind. It's I want to say it's two people that do it, but yes.
But yeah, that's definitely like what the soundtrack for the show is, which is cool. Thor Ragnarok also. I mean, it's worth mentioning in the trailer. It featured a song by Magic Sword.
And that is a song that certainly got me into Synthwave.
Yeah. Also, like Thor Ragnarok, first off, is like one of my favorite Marvel films of all time. It's perfect. Also, I just think it's so funny that that's what the soundtrack was, because there's no reason for it to have a synthwave soundtrack, but it did, and that's awesome. Then we've got Kung Fury, which like literally everything about that film is synthwave.
Right.
If you don't know what it is, it's on YouTube. It's only 30 minutes long. Go watch it after this.
Like she said, that little short film is 120% an homage to the synth store. Like there's like aesthetic and like the signs cheese, a little bit of extras in synthwave on purpose, because that's the part that made us smile about some things in the 80s.
Yeah, it's all the most like cheesy 80s movie tropes, like action movie tropes, crammed into a half hour, and also David Hasselhoff is there.
Yes. The guy that did all music for Kung Fury is another one of the guys that you could put up there with Kinski, yes. Mitch Murder.
Yeah,
Mitch Murder's name.
Yeah, so that also has like a legitimate synthwave soundtrack. It's not just like the aesthetic of it. Though I do like whatever like video effect they put on it, because it feels like you're watching it on like a VHS. It's very like, weird. Next on the list, The Weeknd. Not a synthwave artist, but I know like his song Blinding Lights is like has a really synthwave sound to it.
So I believe that again, this sucks because I'm forgetting names that are like important. The producer that helped Weeknd do that song, he's a synthwave producer. Like the lights thing wasn't just a one shot deal. It's like a couple different songs, and I think it's like a trilogy of songs that have a synthwave vibe. However, if you were to go into the synth community, ask them, they would. It's so split down the middle. There's like argument all the time about to the point where some of us are like, so you'll come in and say, just got into the genre. Tell me the best synthwave artist to listen to. Will say The Weeknd. Just
Robbie and I are both in a Synthwave Facebook group, and like it stopped, but for months people would just post, "Is the weekend Synthwave?" And it was like constant.
It got to the point where it became a running gag where we would post anything, and like it first started out as this synthwave, and then it like devolved into just it with like a picture. It was like a running gag for a little while.
Yeah. And then there's the film Drive, which I actually haven't seen, but it came out in 2011 and it stars Ryan Gosling. And that has a synthwave soundtrack, and it actually features a song by Kavinsky. And that was like the first like really mainstream use of synthwave.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that one as like their entry.
Yeah.
I think we both need our synthwave cards pulled because I haven't seen it either.
Yeah. We'll find wherever it's streaming. We'll watch it at some point. And then there's the video game Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which I haven't played, but the marketing was all synthwave, and it has a synthwave soundtrack. And I'm trying to remember the name of the artist that did it, and it's escaping me, but it is a legit synthwave artist that did the soundtrack for that game.
And I believe either they based the guy off or the main guy off of him, or he voiced him. I believe the actor that's Kyle Reese from the Terminator is somehow involved in that. I can't remember how. But yeah.
And then there's the video game Valhalla, which is not strictly a synthwave game, but I felt like it was worth mentioning because it's a really great game. It is a cyberpunk bartending game. It's a visual novel essentially, and it has a really cool like bartending mechanic, and it's done in this like really retro pixel art style. And it has a fantastic electronic soundtrack. And there's definitely a decent amount of tracks on that game that lend themselves more towards the synthwave side. So yeah, it's a fantastic game. Go check it out, or at the very least, you can listen to the soundtrack on YouTube. Yeah, it's a really good game. The only other thing I forgot to list on here, even though it's one of my favorite games ever, is Sayonara Wild Hearts. Another game that is maybe not quite synthwave, it's more synth pop, but again, like super fun arcade style game. You can get it on a lot of platforms. Visually very much fits into the aesthetic. Everything is sparkly and neon and beautiful, and yeah, really great like synth pop playlist.
That sounds enough that it showed it to me. And Mr. Heavy Metal Guy, it made me start putting little twinkles.
There's some Megatronix songs that have like little twinkly sounds that sound like they're from the game, and it's all my fault.
It's her fault.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about synthwave versus vaporwave, because they get kind of like thrown in together a lot, especially when you're on YouTube and you're looking at like, I know I listen to music on YouTube all the time, so I'm always getting these like hour-long playlists that'll be like synthwave, chillwave, dream hop, vaporwave, or something like that. And so like all these words get thrown together, and people don't like always know like what they mean. So basically the difference between synthwave and vaporwave visually is this. Synthwave uses like a lot richer, darker colors, and vaporwave is more pastels. Musically, they're also pretty different. Obviously, like synthwave draws from the 80s. Vaporwave primarily is inspired by the 90s and like Y2K. So like, to put it very broadly, you could say synthwave is 80s, vaporwave is 90s. But even musically, like vaporwave is purely electronic, whereas synthwave is electronic like at its core, but there's lots of synthwave artists that also like play actual instruments too. Vaporwave is like super distorted. It's usually slowed down. It's usually got a lot of filters. It's got a lot of samples. Synthwave is more like purely original stuff, and it's not filtered as much. It's very clean sounding most of the time, very clean vocals. Whereas like vaporwave some vaporwave like literally sounds like you're listening to music underwater. Like it's so just distorted and ambient. So I would say those are like the biggest stylistic differences. Also, vaporwave is more, I would say, musically is more niche than synthwave. Like there's really no mainstream vaporwave. You
Bitter
don't really
music.
hear it. Yeah, it's not in TV shows or movies or anything. It's vaporwave is almost more of a meme than anything now. Like I think nowadays when people say vaporwave, they think of more like the aesthetic. They think of the statue and the palm trees than the music. So here's some just examples of like the vaporwave aesthetic, and there's definitely overlap for sure between vaporwave and synthwave. They have some things in common. You can see in like the lower left corner, there's that like iconic sunset. But overall, like the colors are more pastel. It's almost a little bit more surreal looking than synthwave. Synthwave is very, very much just like you're in an action movie, and this is just like you're in a dream of a shopping mall or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's a very good example that vaporwave. From the way it was explained to me early on, is that vaporwave is the house music that you would hear at the mall. In like the early days, and like Carolyn said, like lo-fi filtered. But in her example here, you can see the aesthetic is more wiggly lines and more pastels, and I have no idea what the bust is about.
Yeah. Well, I think where it came from is the picture in the upper right is the album cover for Flower Shop by Macintosh Plus, which is like one of the most famous vaporwave albums ever. And so I don't know if it was that album cover is like what inspired the statue thing, but yeah, like the Greek statues are like really popular for some reason. Flamingos, beaches, stuff like that.
If anybody remembers, maybe 90s. That's when I remember in mid 90s. Do you remember them paper cups that had the design looked almost like the middle photo there with the squid line?
Yeah, I think the design is called Jazz. Like that's actually what the name of it is.
Yeah, it's that cup, or like the top photo here, the walls and the same it's both genres use geometry, but as you can see, both are different geometry. That makes sense.
Definitely. And I think there's also like a sort of virtual sort of vibe to vaporwave, in that it's like you're in a computer program, and like it a lot of the graphic design draws from like 90s Windows like interface and stuff like that. And here's some examples of just like the fashion. Yes, Robbie, I included you guys because it's such a good example. The cover of Powerwave by Megatronix.
Okay.
That said, like fashion, like synthwave fashion and vaporwave fashion are really, really nebulous. There isn't like a concrete like way of dressing for either style. It's more of a vibe than anything else. That said, with synthwave, it's going to be inspired by 80s fashion, a lot of like either leather or vinyl, shiny things, stuff like that. And then vaporwave is going to be more pastel, it's more in the graphics than anything. But like I said, it's really just kind of a vibe more than like a really distinct clothing style.
So as far as like the synthwave side of it goes, there's also a bit of cyberpunk in it. Now, typically, cyberpunk music is way on an electronic, but it's on a totally different vibe than synthwave or any of the waves. However, it's because of like Blade Runner, the future like cyberpunk kind of vibe quick gets its way into synth. We, for example, when we went into this, Rob and I already had these. Yes, there's two Robs in Megatron. We had this. we just wanted to look like, if anybody's ever played Streets of Rage or even Double Dragon, we would look like NPCs. We would look like the bad guys in Streets of Rage, like the streety early 90s 80s kind of thing like that, but we also made it shiny. I got stuff drawn on my face like it's for parts. Let's see,
Yeah,
is Nina in the bottom left?
Yeah, that's Nina, and then bottom right is Nicolas Cage. I
Yes.
have no context for this photo. I have just seen it floating around, and I think it's wonderful.
So there's a guy in Synthwave. He's a Synthwave DJ. I love this man to death, and he doesn't. He almost dresses exactly like that, but like not ironic. And
Yeah.
his name is Josh. He goes by Faith in the Glitch.
Oh yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
Right. So he's got the glasses like that, and he has like a pink battle jacket, and yeah, he looks like that. Like not ironic.
I mean, I don't know if Nicolas Cage was trying to be ironic either, but he looks great.
True. There's part of Synthwave, not photographed or not pictured here, that it's towards the male pop vocal side of Synthwave, like Rye or even Michael Lee, the solo artist, that their aesthetic along like the Miami Vice suits.
Yeah, Miami Vice.
Yeah, like the rolled up sleeve, the just like turtleneck under the jacket with like maybe like a chain, or the big lapel like open button shirt with the dress jacket. That's part two.
Yeah.
Visually,
also,
Miami Vice is a very example of what Synthwave is as far as this.
Yeah. I think the other, like the flip side of that in terms of men's clothing is also what's his name from Back to the Future?
Marty.
Marty, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big jackets, it's big bomber jackets.
Yeah, like high top sneakers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So here's some other micro genres that you may have heard of and that like get thrown in with these genres.
Simpsonwave.
Yes, we'll talk about that. So, and like I'll just like preface this with like this, all of this is so incredibly niche. Like some of these micro genres might only have like a handful of artists. So yeah, but like a lot of stuff you can find on YouTube, and I think it's super interesting just diving into all of these genres. But yeah, there's chillwave, which like was like the predecessor to vaporwave. They get used together a lot, and it's just like, yeah, just like chill, like dreamy kind of ambient music. Slushwave, which I just learned about, which is like a type of vaporwave, but it's like really distorted. Look it up on YouTube. It's very interesting. It's like the dream of a dream. It's like really weird.
Is that Inception Wave?
Yeah, Inception Wave. Mall Wave, which again is like an offshoot of vaporwave in that it is like mall music. There's Dreamwave, which is also like in the same whole circle, and that's just like very dreamy and psychedelic sounding and distorted and stuff like that. And then Signal Wave, which is another one I just learned about recently that I find utterly fascinating. And it is a type of electronic music. It's like in the same sort of family tree as like vaporwave, in that it's like slowed down electronic, distorted, but it's interspersed with clips of like advertisements and stuff like from like the 90s, and it feels like when you're listening to it, it's like you got sucked into like a TV or something. It's really interesting. So I, like if you love like niche, weird, surreal music genres, definitely look that one up because it's really, really fascinating.
So it's going, and then all of a sudden you hear like a car ad for 1984 Dodge Dakota or like whatever. Like
yeah, but it's like really distorted and stuff. It's really surreal sounding. It's interesting.
Mattress to swear blowout sale. Like, all right, I found my new. I found it. I'm gonna do one of them now.
And then Soviet Wave, which is also just like, there might only be like one artist that does this. I'm not even sure, but it's like same idea. It's just like distorted electronic music that's cut in with like Soviet era like broadcasts and stuff.
The couple examples I've heard of it are like almost like traditional Soviet era songs, almost like the Russian national anthem with like this a wave on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, those examples of it I've heard just a couple of them, and yeah, like Carolyn said, it's niche. Like,
yeah, I know that there is like a Soviet Wave playlist on YouTube because it's popped up in my like recommended videos before. And then Simpsonwave. Do you want to explain that?
So Simpsonwave is it's still-ish wave, vapor-ish wave. It's like Carolyn said before, it's that dreamscape kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Simpsonwave is more where people take episodes of Simpsons and they read them and put like the vapor film over them to make them look all VHS-y. And every once in a while they'll throw in a sample from the Simpsons. I think one of the more popular ones is like somebody did a Trills thing with Milhouse's character Drillhouse, and the whole video is just a loop of him falling down like this space tunnel, and with the chill and the music over it with vapory like video filters on it, and then that's all it is. And
yeah.
That cracked me up.
Yeah, it is a real thing. You can look it up. And I just I think it's so funny. But again, I think it's just like maybe one person that does it. It's definitely like an ironic genre, for sure. And this is just like a meme that I found.
It's a good example. It really is.
This gets passed around like the Synthwave Facebook group like all the time.
This is like the almost like the aesthetic Bible. Because it's like vapor was flowery and the stuff like that, and the pop wave is somewhere in between like Macho Joe Tug guy that's got a soft side,
mm-hmm.
And then Outrun is like where it's like just get in and go fast,
yeah.
And Dark Synth is definitely like that.
Terminator
is that
music?
Yeah, Terminator music, like. Brad Fiddel's score first Terminator movie. That's a good example of original inspiration for dark synth, horror movies, and like the horror film genre. John Carpenter.
John Carpenter is a big one, yeah. Okay, so the next few slides, just to tie this back into the fashion theme of the event, I put together some Lolita outfits, like collages that I think capture the like synthwave vibe. So I'm gonna go through and talk about them, and feel free to offer your opinion on any of them.
Is this the rate my synthwave Lolita?
Yeah.
Portion?
And then
okay.
in the chat, let me know what you think. And we can vote at the end on like which one people like the best. I'm extremely excited about these.
Is Synth Lolita or Lolita Wave? We have to
Lolita Wave. Okay. So here's the first one. This is a dress that actually just came out really recently from Emily Temple Cute. That has like cassette tapes all over it. I think it's so adorable. And I paired it with a Betsy Johnson cassette tape purse, and then an AP scrunchie, which I just have to say, I went on Lolibrary and I was shocked at how many brands have scrunchies for sale. I didn't think there'd be like 4 pages of them. And then some sneakers from Koi Footwear, and then these really awesome earrings that are from this Etsy shop I follow called Retro Ello. Yeah, I love this outfit. I want this dress. I think it's so cute.
You should do it.
Okay, next one. Of course, we had to have some leopard print, and Meta, they do that. So it's I think the print is called Leopard Jewelry from Meta, and then you just have like a Betsy Johnson purse, the Converse denim jacket, and then of course a pair of pit vipers, specifically
these pit vipers.
Yes, you have them. Yeah, the herbivores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are these are the loose riders? So you have the herbivores, big glasses, like the big square glasses, like yours. These that's an aesthetic
thing. These are from Amazon.
Hey, sorry, they do the job.
But yeah. So and then okay, so the next one I'm so excited about. Well, I didn't know how much I wanted this dress until I put this together. This is Girly Sticker from Angelic Pretty. And then I just paired it with like an 80s style windbreaker. And then like I was thinking, what if you took like a Back to the Future t-shirt and made it into a cutso, and then like put that underneath, and then the light up sun shades.
Excuse me. They're called Synthesizers. Jeez.
And then the boots are from Irregular Choice. If you want to look them up, I'm crazy about them. I think they're so cool looking. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everyone in the chat is so excited about these, and that makes me really happy because I had so much fun putting these together. Honestly, this is the best way I've seen that dress coordinated. I actually think it's a really great print. I think it's really fun, especially in black. And yeah, now I'm gonna have to hunt it down because I really want it so I can put together this exact outfit.
Yes.
And then last one.
Ooh, I want that jacket.
Yeah, this is more almost on like the Vaporwave end, but it's gosh, is it Dreamy Planetarium by Angelic Pretty. And then yeah, I'm not sure where the jacket is from. I just Googled like pink leather jacket and just scrolled until I found one. The sneakers are from Fila. I've been eyeing those sneakers for quite a while. And then the glasses are from a brand called Isley NYC, and they do like cut acrylic jewelry and accessories. And then I'm not 100% sure where the bag is from, but it's not super hard to find like Game Boy shaped bags. This would look cute with an Ida bag too.
I like how it's like a pretty pink and like yeah, and then it's just like game over.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the bag. So yeah, so that's all of them. But if people want to vote on which one they like best, that would like make me super happy. So let's go back. So here's number 1, got Cassette Tape Girl. And then number 2, Leopard Babe. And 3 got Back to the Future. And then number 4 is our video game girl.
Oh, this is hard. Because I like a piece of like every single one.
Yeah.
But I'm not the fashion folk. You're the fashion folk. You know better.
Okay, so like, Nicole and Jamie like number 1. Number 3 or 4. Yeah, I think number 3 is my favorite. But honestly, like I really love all of them. 4 for space. Yeah, I love this print. I wish it like came in a cut that would look good on me because I really, really like this print a lot. It looks like actually people like a lot of different ones. So that's really cool. That makes me happy.
We need to find that kit for real. You know I like some jackets.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can like reverse Google search it because I don't remember where it was from, but yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, so that is pretty much the end of things. Rob, you want to promote your band? I know you guys have some live shows coming up.
Sure, if it's in the Portland area, we will be playing on Rose Fest. It's a 3-day event, and they actually have day is separated kind of almost into the subgenres of Synthwave. The first day is like the dark day, then there's like a dream wave kind of day, and then there's more like a traditional Synthwave day. We play one of it. That is October 9th. Or no, we fly out October 19th. We play October 20th. I am not good at numbers and dates.
Okay, well,
This is why I have a calendar.
Yeah, you guys are playing the Neon Rose Fest in Portland in October, the weekend before Halloween.
Mm-hmm. And then November, that one is definitely the 19th, 18th, and 20th. I remember that one. We're playing at a place called Monster Arcade down in at the town. It's about 20 minutes outside of Orlando. We're playing both nights there.
What's the name of the arcade?
Arcade Monsters.
Okay, Arcade Monster.
Yeah, we are playing the cosplay rave. This place is huge. Like it's two levels, and they have all the stuff are in cosplay, like video game cosplay all the time. Super neat. So we got that coming up. Our latest release is a 5-song EP called Lip Breaker. Got some slappers on there. It gets a little groovy. Gets a little dark synth. It's
a very good EP, and I'm not just saying that. It's extremely good.
Thanks. And a little heavy, and then there's just two on there from two of the top 10 probably greatest action movies of all time, Bloodsport and Rocky IV.
Yeah, there's a cover. Yeah, there's a cover of the song from Bloodsport and a cover of a song from Rocky IV.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to check out the band on social media, we are most active on Instagram. That would be Megatronix Official on Megatronix Official. If you tweet, I tweet, Darkround tweet. But you can still visit Megatronix Music on Twitter. We are on Facebook. The algorithm wiped us out so to the point where we hardly really use it, but we do have one. That one is facebook.com/Megatronix Official. If you want to yourself up some aesthetic, we have an Etsy store, and that's our merch is. It's Megatronix merch on Etsy. You can get yourself one of the dresses, as Carolyn pointed out, and add a Megatronix jacket to it, or
sneakers.
Yes, we have what they're like Chuck Taylor style Megatronix sneaks. I have that artwork on.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw kicks ass guy. Yeah, we got t-shirts, shoes, bags. We have luggage. We have a carry-on luggage bag
because you can print on anything.
Yes, we go kiss on. If we can even put that on there. We got leggings. We got yoga pants. Tis the season. Yeah, Megatronix merch. And musically, if you would like to support a kind of not big tier, not exactly middle tier, right between low tier, and that would be megatronix.bandcamp.com.
Hell yeah. And then you can follow me at Noble Ghost Fashion. Noble Ghost. I am one of the featured designers for Virtual Versailles this weekend. So I have a special sort of vaporwave-ish themed collection that is available on Etsy right now. So you can visit my Etsy shop. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And before we sign off, does anyone have any questions, or is anything that people want us to go over again?
Yeah, tell Dark Rob to fix his mic.
Yeah. It's okay. We powered through.
I see what you did there.
You could record with that mic effect and make some good signal wave.
You're going to have to teach me.
Okay.
The student, it becomes the teacher.
All right. Well, I think pretty much done then. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about the tech issues, but we had a really good time, and I hope you guys liked it.